The Creighton Blue Jays are 11-3 on the season as we welcome into the podcast Lauren Jensen. Lauren, first and foremost, Happy New Year. It's 2025, girl. You are the first podcast guest of the 2025 year. So, congratulations. Welcome in.
Nice. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Real quick, any New Year's goals, resolutions? Are you a big kind of like New Year's person yourself of just a little journaling and resetting for the year?
Honestly, I was just talking about this with my teammates. I've never been like a huge New Year's person just because in my mind, like the start of a new year has always been like a school year, which is like weird because I'll be done next year with school. And so we'll see if my like brain resets to a new year actually being January 1st. I don't have any like crazy New Year's resolutions. I feel like whenever I get stressed, I'll like pick at my fingernails, and that's probably been my New Year's resolution for like 3 or 4 years now. So we'll see if I can finally break that. But I feel like I've slowly been able to make progress, but we'll see if I can finally crack it this year.
So are you, I have friends who've been like that. Are you like, I can't wear nail polish because of it? Or is it like you put the nail polish on so that you don't try and pick at anything?
When I put nail polish on, I don't pick at anything, but my problem is I am so inconsistent with putting nail polish on. And so that's probably a way easier fix is just being consistent with putting nail polish on.
I
But
love
we'll see.
it. We will see. And you had a pretty good holiday as well. You were able to go home and spend Christmas with your family.
Yep, I was able to go home. We had, I think, 4 or 5 days off, and then we were back the day after Christmas because we played St. John's out in New York that Saturday, or I guess what was that? I don't even know. My days all run together a week ago now.
And hey, that's allowed. That is very much
hmm
allowed. And your team actually also just came off of yet again another conference win beating Butler. We're recording this on Thursday night. You and your squad beat
hmm
Butler just the other night. And you and your team are now 3-0. And that's the first time in conference play. First time since that Elite Eight run that you made that season.
Wow.
That's a fun fact.
Yeah,
That's a good
I didn't
stat.
even know that. I didn't even know that.
I mean, when you kind of think early on still in the season, Lauren, but what you and your teammates have been able to do so far, what really energizes you about what you have accomplished and then what has brought you into the start of now conference play this season?
Yeah. I mean, I've set up for a long time, but we obviously have a lot of new pieces back. We lost pretty much one last year, but she was a big piece of our team. Emma was a really big piece of our team. And it's been fun to kind of see how we are without Emma on the floor this year. And we've played well, but we definitely have not reached our ceiling. There's still a lot of things that can fall into place and that we can be better at, which is exciting. And I'm excited to keep building towards that in 2025 and getting to playing our best basketball.
What is one of those things specifically that you really are hoping to fall into place, or yourself are specifically working on to fall into place early on here in this calendar year?
Yeah, I think just some continuity. Not that our offense is bad by any means, but I feel like having more consistent stretches throughout the game and continuity in our offense and also being more connected on defense. More overarching things, but there's a bunch of little things that also we need to do and lock in on. And honestly, I think still a little bit of chemistry stuff, which might sound weird considering we do have a lot back. But I think people are still settling into their roles and have a lot more to reach. Um, Not that anyone is playing bad by any means. I think people are playing great. But we still have yet to hit our stride.
I love that you mentioned chemistry, though. How would you describe what the current chemistry is with you and your teammates?
Yeah. Oh gosh, it's a good question. I don't know if I've ever been asked that. Um, we have good chemistry. We've been together for a really long time. The core of us have been. Which it's super fun to play with all of them. It makes it easy. We know where we're going to be on the floor. We know what we're going to do. But kind of going back to the roles piece of this year, people have slightly different roles, and I think we're still figuring out how to blend that to its full capacity, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And what is one of the most interesting things I think of, right? It's the big storyline that everyone talks about you and your teammates and this Creighton unit right now of,
Hmm.
well, it's this veteran unit that keeps on coming in, right? This core group that has so much playing time together. And what I think is really awesome watching you and your teammates over the years is there has been constant growth within that unit and you can tell
Hmm.
that there's no complacency, which I think is something that can easily happen sometimes when you are just like, okay, we're playing with the same core group
Yeah.
of players, right? My teammates are kind of the same. You could easily fall into the trap of complacency. So how
Hmm.
have you guys managed to avoid that and continue to push one another and grow individually and as a unit on the court?
Yeah, I think it's a nod first and foremost to kind of who we are as people. We're all competitive and we all like to push ourselves. We're all driven. And also locking in on the little things. You know, it's easy to sometimes get caught in the big picture and what we're trying to accomplish, but in the end, what gets you there is locking in every day in practice and doing those little things and just building to what we know that we can be.
Mhm. Love that. Lauren, why basketball for you? Why'd you start playing basketball? Where did this love for hoops come from?
Honestly, there's no crazy story. I neither of my parents like played for a long time. My dad didn't play at all. My mom played until like seventh or eighth grade. I have two older siblings. They didn't play basketball. I'm from Minnesota, so my extended family is big hockey. So I'm like the only basketball player. Like no one else in my family is basketball. They're very big basketball fans now,
Hmm.
especially women's basketball. I've like converted them to women's basketball. But yeah, honestly, I my neighbor had a hoop in her driveway and we would always shoot. And then I told my parents that I wanted to try it and that was that. I think I was like 6.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Did you dabble a little bit in hockey though prior, or did you never?
I actually didn't. No. I had like skated since I was little, but my parents never put me in it. Probably because I was in basketball and I wanted to do basketball, you know, and hockey is obviously a winter sport.
Yeah.
But no, I never did hockey.
So from the 6-year-old little girl, what point kind of did you recognize, oh, I'm really good at this and this is my love that I love this game?
Yeah, I feel like it kind of comes in stages. I probably in middle school is when I really realized I was like, okay, like maybe late elementary school, middle school. I've always loved it though. You know, I mentioned my neighbor had a hoop in their driveway and then we got a hoop in ours and I was out there like all the time, just like not doing anything specific really. Whenever I was on the driveway, I was just like shooting around. But it was probably middle school that I realized.
Hmm. Were you battling the winters out there and shooting around too? Because that is Lauren, that is
Hmm.
true love if you're out there in the Minnesota winters.
I would be out there until the first snowfall,
Oh,
which, yeah, I wasn't out there. I wish I could say that is true love. I wish I could say that I was out there like in the snow, but I don't think my parents would have let me. I just like went to the gym at that point.
and also though you were a smart little kid because I think
Yeah.
safety was a thing. We would have had
Yeah.
probably a broken ankle or something along.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, it was probably for the best.
Lauren, when it's not basketball, what is one of your favorite hobbies that you really have found that you love to do?
Yeah, I like to read, especially when I'm not in school. You know, during the semester it can get kind of crazy, but I like to read and obviously spend time with friends and family. In the summers, I actually like to go on bike rides. I think it's fun. Yeah, nothing like too crazy or rigorous
I was gonna say,
with
are
the
we like
workout.
flipping in on a road bike, or are we like a basket in the front, like a fun bike, or you've got the spin kind of shoes and you're on a road bike out there?
Yeah, fun fact, so my dad loves mountain biking.
Oh,
And he still does mountain bike and everything, even though there's no really mountains in Minnesota. He just goes on the trails. But
don't
I
worry,
grew
Dad.
up,
There's very big mountains.
yeah. Yeah. I grew up doing a little bit of that, and then so I've always had like a mountain bike, so that's the type of bike that I use. But I don't go on like all of those trails now. That probably wouldn't be like the smartest injury wise, but I'll just like go on paved trails and just like casually. I think it's fun to like get out in nature and everything, maybe put on a podcast.
Love that. Love that. A pre-game ritual that you have. What's something that we're doing basically every game to get you in the zone?
Yeah, a ritual. I'm really big into routines, but I don't have any like specific like put on this shoe, then put on that shoe, you know. I always get my hair braided. I can't braid, so my teammates do it.
Who's the best
Um,
braider? Who's doing your hair usually?
Kennedy Townsend does my braids. She's great at it. Shout out Kennedy. But that is probably that, getting my hair braided. Um and yeah, n nothing too crazy.
Hmm. Who is the best cook on your team out of your teammates, and what is she making?
Ooh. This is a good question. There's a few different answers. Jamie Horan is a really good cook. Um, Mal Break makes a lot of things. She actually has like a page, an Instagram page.
Hey.
And then Morgan Molly is also a good cook. I feel like I can speak more to what she makes since we live together. Her burgers are amazing, actually. Like they are
Um,
so good. She makes them in the cast iron, and they're really good.
Yum. Are you dabbling as well? We had to shout you out a little bit. Are we cooking you, or you're enjoying the fact that you've got really good cooks on the
Right, right. I do enjoy that fact. I used to be terrible, like terrible. I never cooked. But I like meal prep and everything. And so I'd say I'm like average. I'm average. I'm not gonna make a meal for the team that would stress me out. And I don't think I would be good enough to
I
do
feel that
that.
so much.
Yeah. But I can definitely like cook for myself and another person.
There we go. Perfect. And that's all we need. That's all.
Yeah, yeah.
Lauren, when you think about it, you still have so much more left in this year, in this season, but when you kind of reflect a little bit here and there, right? Start of a new year, even though we're in the middle of a year and in the middle of a
hmm
season, but taking this as a moment to kind of reflect a little bit of what your career and time at Creighton has meant. What has it meant to you to be a Creighton Blue Jay and put on that jersey?
Yeah, it's meant everything. I love it here. The culture is second to none. I love the coaching staff. I love the players. Um, I love our style of play. Like it's all awesome. And to be able to play the role that I've played and do it for as long as I have is something that I definitely don't take for granted. There's been so many players that have come before me and so many great players around me right now. And I just definitely try to live in the moment with the last couple months of my college career. Because it really is a special place and it's meant a lot to me to be able to represent Creighton.
And a great player you are yourself, Lauren. Sure, that one is leaving her mark with the Jays. Thank you so much for joining us on In the Bonus this week, Lauren. Lauren Jensen and the Creighton Blue Jays head out to Providence this upcoming weekend at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, where they will take on the Friars. Best of luck, Lauren. Have a good one.
Yes, thank you. You too.